Death Stranding is an action game produced and developed by the Kojima Productions. Hideo Kojima is an iconic game designer who's famous for one of the best games franchises to ever be made, Metal Gear Solid franchise. His latest creation, Death Stranding, also portrays his creativity that can be considered as his best creation up to date. Death Stranding was initially released for the PlayStation 4 on November 8, 2019, and now released on PC July 14th of 2020. The game is absolutely a game changer for the traditional gameplay experience. This beauty of the game that can be closer to the player's life as it's stacked with the stunning graphics, an amazing story, and a whole new level of gameplay mechanics. In my opinion, Death Stranding is a fantastic game, and so here's my review for its PC release. Kojima has successfully delivered the post-apocalyptic vibe through the graphics elements and sound. The game's map is approximately 846 km squared, which is roughly around 2 times bigger than the Witcher 3 map. This map is mostly hills, rocks, cliffs, mountains, and other terrain, and looks stunning with the effort put in with the textures and details. Yoji Shinkawa's influence is all over the game, and he has done a great job in delivering the details and the scenery perfectly. Yoji was the designer for the Metal Gear series, and he's done even better with the art direction in his colleagues' latest games. Once you start playing, you won't take your eyes off the screen because of the amazing graphics design both have put into the work of the art. Not just the only of the visuals, but the sound design has done a major role in delivering the perfect setting for the game. The lead sound designer of the game is MIKKELSEN, and he's done his job so good that you will want to play the game just for the visuals and the sound. Though the visuals are done perfectly, the game sometimes feels a little dull and boring due to the fact that the map is extremely huge and the majority of the game is played unraveling this map. This is just a side effect of the overdevelopment of some sort of, but the game is pretty much about the scenery and how you feel. You won't feel bored at any time when the sound and the visuals combined has a perfect harmony. Even when you're going through the dull part of the map, the slightest melancholy soundtrack in the background will make up for it, and you will start to see this strangely mellow beauty in this scene. The game is made on Decima engine, on which Horizon Zero Dawn was also made. Decima has done much better visually compared to the Kojima's past engine, the Fox engine. The engine Decima itself is eminent for its high dynamic range, or HDR, imaging capabilities and artificial intelligence capabilities. There's a notable upgrade in the visuals and details compared to the engine's last game, and this has always been the ideal engine for the Death Stranding from the beginning. When Death Stranding was first revealed, people knew that the game was heavy with the graphics, and the game has brought the next generation graphics into the current generation of consoles. Their particles, textures, rendering, and physics looks realistic and eye-pleasing in the game. Terrain rendering and notable increases of the tessellation have improved and made the environment look even more realistic than ever. Not only the environment, but high-fidelity character models rendering and the shadings looks fantastic as well. To volumetrical particle effects always have been good in the engine, and this game uses this heavily. The explosions looks more realistic and stunning than ever before, and you can always stop and admire these stunning effects. And now, even better on a PC. When you dive deeper into the characters' models, you can quickly notice that the model skins do not look artificial as the most of the games do. In fact, you can see how detailed the skin and the cloth textures are, and how well they are react to various elements such as the water, light, shadow, and etc. The game is really good not only because of its graphics, but extreme attention to the detail. For example, in-game you're a porter and you met other fellow porters, and if you try to follow one who's on his own to the delivery of the mission, you can find that they actually make deliveries. They also stumble and get tired too, just like characters yourself, Sam. Another notable detail is that Sam does not have a uniform movement of the animation. So his running, walking, climbing, sliding animations differ according to the specific types of the terrains. If Sam is tired, he will react to it by sitting down and eventually fall asleep. If you try to walk Sam without shoes, his feet will bleed, and he will also react to the temperature and the weather. And this type of the attention of the detail is that what makes this game unique, diverse, and beautiful. The game is set in the post-apocalyptic environment in the United States with lots of the elements and occurring to the interacting with. The country has been destroyed by a cataclysm event named the Death Stranding, which is caused by the beached things. Now these BTs are some kind of the invisible creatures formed in the land called beach, which is said to be connected with the afterlife as they are caused the explosion known as the void outs, which produce a rainfall known as the timefall. This rain rapidly ages and destroys anything it touches, giving the game an amazing element to deal with. The remaining survivors have formed a colonies known as the Knots, which forms cities, ultimately calling United States of America, or UCA. The whole UCA relies on a company named Bridges, which carries out the deliveries of supplies to the colonies and conducts other governing functions for the UCA. Bridges works in unifying the country by fixing the communication between the cities. The employees who go out and do the work are called porters, and these porters are the brave ones that don't fear BTs and carry out dangerous tasks between the colonies. The protagonist, Sam, is also a porter, and the game's gameplay is mostly around the adventures he faces. The protagonist, Sam, is played by Norman Reedus, who is famous of his own appearances in The Walking Dead and is another reason to play the game. The game is about Sam Porter Bridges, fixing the country, beating the Death Stranding, and unifying the country.
But I keep coming.
This first few minutes of the game will give you a glimpse of what to expect in a game, cinematic wise and graphics wise. You first meet Fragile, played by Léa Seydoux, who is also a major character in the game, while encountering your first BT experience within the first minutes of the game. Here you also learn about the Timefall and get a slight idea on Fragile's capabilities. She has an umbrella-like navigational device which makes her able to teleport to places of her own wish. Sam apparently has a condition called Dooms, which makes him able to sense BTs. You also get the first look at the Bridge Baby, or BB, who also senses BTs. These BBs play a huge role in a game as BBs affect the gameplay mechanics directly. BBs are premature babies who are reflecting the state between the life and death. They are stored in a pot which simulates of the mother's womb. Since BBs can sense the BT, you're able to choose from the completing the task stealthily or using it for the aggression. Another important fact of the game is that the death of any person has a serious consequence to the living of the world. The dead are subject for the necrosis and ultimately cause a void out, causing a timefall. So this fact plays a huge part in the gameplay as you cannot kill any enemies and the death must be burned to avoid the void out. After Sam's first delivery, he decides to take a dead body to incinerate it, but on the way he faces BTs and experiences a void out soon after. He dies in the process, but here comes the next shocker. He is the Repatriate, who can come back to the seam which is placed between the living and the dead upon his death. Being a Repatriate is a crucial factor of the gameplay, as later in the game, if you die, you will still be able to respawn, but whatever you were carrying receives a significant damage. However, after he comes back to life, he's acquainted with a Dr. Deadman, played by Guillermo del Toro and voiced by Jesse Corti, in the capital Knot City. Then he has to deliver morphine to his dying mother, Bridget Strand, played by Lindsay Wagner and voiced by Emily O'Brien, who is also a president of UCA. There he also meets his former boss, the director of Die Hardman, played by Tommy Earl Jenkins. Sam has left Bridget some time ago and his mother begs him to reunite America. However, Sam refuses and then his mother dies due to her illness, and Sam transports her to get incinerated. He also supposed incinerates BB-28, the Bridges baby Sam encountered earlier, but Sam refuses to burn it and decides to keep the BB to himself and name him Lou. When Sam returns, he is reunited with his sister Emily, also played and voiced by Lindsay Wagner and Emily O'Brien, but she isn't actually there. She kept hostage at the Edge Knot City by a terrorist group named Homo Demons, and only her hologram is with Sam. She advises Sam how to rescue her, and Sam reluctantly accepts it in hope he could see her at last. Hence starts the adventure of the Sam Porter Bridges. He then attends on his main missions of the connecting of the remaining cities of the Carl network along making the cargo deliveries, assisting other Bridges staff and researching, learning about the Death Stranding, and viewing Lou's memories. Lou's memories show his apparent father, Clifford Unger, played by Mads Mikkelsen. Clifford occasionally attacks Sam to recover Lou since he is a spectral entity. He also faces the Golden Masked Man for the first explosion you experienced, HIGGS, played by Troy Baker. Sam's whole mission gets interrupted and changed when HIGGS reveals that Emily is an extinction entity, and being that can cause mass extinctions using the Death Stranding. However, HIGGS tries to trigger a last stranding which simply wipes out all life on Earth. Sam defeats HIGGS, making his suicide to avoid the beach. Later on, Sam finds out that his mother and sister both were just one being, and Emily was the true leader of the Homo Demons. She has been one of the seeking to trigger their last stranding, but Sam convinces her to stop by the permanently separating the beach from the living world. After a whole mind-blowing experience, Die Hardman becomes the president of the UCA, replacing Emily, and the USCA is finally reunited and safe. Sam then finds that Lou has died too, and decided to incinerate him. Sam then discovers another twisting information when trying to contact Lou for one last time. The memories he has been viewing hasn't been Lou's after all, but Sam's, making him the son of the Clifford. He also gets to know how he ended up being the son of the Bridget. Clifford and Sam were killed when Clifford tried to smuggle Sam out of the lab, and how Emily revived Sam and turning him into the Repatriate. Once he was not suitable for being a BB, Sam was adopted by a Bridget and raised as her own son. Finally, Sam decides to not incinerate Lou but revive him instead. The game ends by revealing that Lou was a girl, and Sam calling her Louise.
Sick of losing my patience ahead of time, back in red.
The game probably should have left players confused about what they just played, but here's why it deserves to be appreciated more than it should have been. The game may seem like a movie with long pauses of walking, but if you really think about it, the game has its own weird kind of beauty. It is pure masterpiece to a player who actually enjoys the game rather than just playing to kill time. Death Stranding has an excellent story and excellent graphics, along with the phenomenal performance from the casting to sound design. It has a lot of the famous stars starring in it, which makes the game even extra special. Though the game's dull and meaningless long hikes will bore you a lot. Now the effort of Kojima has put into designing will keep you mesmerized and entertained as always. Apart from the beauty, the game also has introduced to innovational mechanics into the game, like how you will be able to balance Sam while carrying cargo, using and upgrading various exoskeletons and suits to boost your performance and stats. Use of the terrain and stealth weapons to evade looters and terrorists, and how multiple players can share infrastructure and support each other throughout the game.
You can't be turned around. I took the easy way out.
Since the PC release, the game has received plenty of additional features, such as the higher frame rate, photo mode, ultra-wide support, and plenty other additions for its settings, so to take on the full customization approach for the game on a PC. PC release was announced March 2nd and was planned to be released in June 2020, but delayed due to the pandemic to July 14th of 2020. Since the release of the Death Stranding on the PlayStation 4 as being one of the most divisive games and yet one of the favorites as well. And finally, after being released and people having a taste of it, especially playing it on a PC, everyone has gotten an opportunity of enjoying it with the full advantages with no bottleneck issues and nor the compromises. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe, and please support me on my Patreon. Links are in the pinned comment. So, I will see you all later.